So I will open the school board meeting for Monday, February 9th, 2026. I will note that we allow public access to meetings. We also stream our meetings live, and we also tape meetings. So if someone isn't able to watch it tonight, they can access it whenever they would like to. So the first item would be our roll call and verification of quorum.
Ms. Mercer? Here. Mr. Pope?
Here.
Mr. Liebrick?
Here.
Ms. Potter Nelson?
Here.
Mr. Summers?
Here.
Mr. Lepak?
Here.
Ms. Erler?
Here.
Do you have a quorum?
And
Oh, I'm
we will
sorry.
note that Jen Bushman and
Ted
Ted
Kowalski.
Kowalski are excused. So we will move into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our first item on our agenda tonight is our Mandana Bliss Award. The Mandana Bliss Award is a symbol of our deep appreciation for the unwavering commitment and outstanding efforts demonstrated by our staff members for educational excellence in the Stevens Point Area Public School District. It is named in honor of Mandana Hale Bliss, Stevens Point's first school teacher and trailblazer, whose exceptional service and dedication continues to inspire us all. This award lends us the opportunity to shine a light on remarkable contributions made to this district by our staff and recognize their exemplary service. And I will note that this, for people who aren't aware of this award, this is a student-nominated award. So we ask our students throughout the year to nominate a staff member that they believe exemplifies Mandana Bliss and all she brought to our district. So with that, I'll turn it over to Corey.
Thank you, Meg. So we have Joan Green, who is a 6th grade student at Madison Elementary School here tonight. And she is going to say a few words about the teacher that she nominated, and that is Tammy Brooks, and she is a reading teacher at Madison Elementary School. So I would like both Joan and Tammy to come up to the podium.
Hello, my name is Joan Green, and I've decided that I want to nominate Mrs. Brooks for the Mandana Bliss Award. I say this because of all the support she has given to me in Madison Elementary. My first reason, and the most crucial, is her kindness. One personal story that I have about her kindness is when I first stepped into her classroom. I was extremely nervous about how the day was going to start. The classroom was bright, but showed a calming setting. I then realized maybe it wouldn't be that bad. And then I saw her, Mrs. Brooks. She was smiling and greeting everyone. She did not care if they were shy or not. This immediately clicked. I knew this was going to be a good year after all. My next reason is her supportive attitude. I can recall when it was time for the wax figure project, or the museum. It was that one, or figure, something like that. And how supportive she was. She told me things such as how good I did and how proud she was of me. In addition, when I was nervous about something, such as a test, she told me to do the best that I could. She even gave me techniques such as breathing. The last reason Mrs. Brooks deserves this award is her constant spread of joy to others around her. Almost every day, she greets others with kindness, asking how their day is going. She also makes you feel that there's someone who cares about you. So please consider nominating Mrs. Brooks for the Mandana Bliss Award.
Great job. Congratulations. Would you like to say anything?
Wow.
You don't have to.
Well, I just wanted to say that it's Joan who I wish I could be recognizing, not me, because Joan walked into my classroom and she was not someone to want to get up in front and speak by any means, right? So we started with me standing next to her when she had to present reports, and maybe I would read a little bit of it and she would read. And then eventually she read it all and I was just standing there. And by, I would say midway through the year, she had it. I mean, she would get up in front of the class and she was presenting and did a fantastic job. So I'm just so proud of Joan and who she is.
So congrats to Joan and Tammy. And then we're going to do a picture in the middle, if that's okay. And then the board members would like to shake each of your hands.
Okay.
So if we can go to the middle. Mr. Banker, if you could join us.
Right up here in the middle first.
Okay.
Between.
Thank you.
I start this way.
Good job.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank you.
Good job. Lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
With the progress of Madison.
Yeah, we love Madison.
Thank you so much for making Carl do his work.
Somebody's got to keep him in line.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
you did really fine.
Congratulations once again to Tammy.
Right, we'll move into our section of public comments. Was there any email comments?
We had no email and no written.
Okay. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to address the board who did not sign up? Seeing none, we will move into our reports and we'll start with our student senate representative, Louise.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful January. This week, Spash's Student Senate has put on a Red and Black Week, which includes dress-up days leading up to our annual winter formal on Saturday, the 14th. I'm pretty sure tomorrow's dress-up day is Neon Day. Not sure if I have any, but try to do what I can. Today and tomorrow, sophomores and juniors will be registering for next year's classes. And the ACT boost is coming up for sophomores and juniors looking to prepare for the ACT. The English section is on the 18th. Math is on the 25th. Science is on March 4th, and reading is on March 11th. Students who decide to take some or only one of these courses will leave with the composite score of that particular test. And students who attend all 4 sections will receive an overall practice test composite score. All sessions will be hosted in the library after school. Spash's One Acts have been rescheduled due to inclement weather days for Thursday and Friday this week in the Spash Auditorium starting at 7 p.m. both days. Spash's Athletic Code of Conduct meeting for 9th through 12th graders who are hoping to participate in spring sports will be on the 23rd, with the code meeting at 7 p.m. and the team meeting starting at 7:30 p.m. Speaking of Spash's athletics, the boys swim team won the conference on February 3rd for their 6th year in a row, which is pretty impressive. Congratulations to the Spash Pom and Dance team for participating in the 2026 state dance competition this past week in lacrosse. And believe it or not, some sports including hockey and boys and girls wrestling will soon begin their tournament series. Best of luck to all winter sports teams as they finish their winter seasons this month. On February 19th, the music department is hosting a jazz night at the Moose Lodge starting at 5:30 p.m. Dinner is served. And lastly, Spash's FFA Club is holding a soup dinner fundraiser from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 22nd. Thank you for listening to Spash's update and have a wonderful rest of the month.
Thank you, Lily.
All right. Communications report. Sarah O'Donnell is in the midst of communicating with respect to a matter that's come to our attention this evening. So I'll just ask, we do have her present in the packet. If people can take a review through that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to her. And then we'll move into our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Meg. So donations to our schools again this month. The Catholic Financial Branch number 11 in care of Carrie Ligman donated $492 to the Money for Meals program. The Women's Fund Advisory Board of the Central Wisconsin Community Foundation donated $500 for hygiene items for our secondary schools. Prime Water Anglers donated $2,000 to the Boston School Forest. Knights of Columbus donated $1,464.49 for special education programs at both P.J. Jacobs and Kennedy Elementary School. And then the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County recently donated $10,000 worth of Dove products to our district. So thank you to all of those organizations and individuals that have donated back to our schools. Books from the Heart is seeking donations to gift books to every K through 2 student in our area. This is a 28-year tradition that they are calling for community support to ensure that every local student, both in private schools and public schools in grades K2, receive a brand new book for Valentine's Day. The initiative aims to raise 1,800 students the ability to have a brand new book, and it's led by our retired Stevens Point Area Public School District teachers. So thank you to that group. If you're interested in donating, you can donate or reach out to Sally Crane, who is a reading teacher at McDill Elementary School.
And if people want to just drop donations up at Bliss,
They can do that
They can do that as well, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Meg. School Board Candidate Forum, so we have an election coming up here in April. There's going to be a forum to learn more about each of the candidates that have submitted to be on the ballot for April. That will be on March 4th from 6 to 7:15 Portage County Annex Building, room 1 and 2. The State of Wisconsin recognitions for the month of February, we've got Career and Technical Education Month. During February, we have FFA Week, we have Crossing Guard Recognition Week, School Bus Driver Appreciation Week, and National School Counselor Week. So lots of staff to be celebrating during the month of February. Again, I just want to recognize our Pom and Dance team who qualified for state this past weekend, the Stash Men's Swim team for winning the conference title. And then we've got a couple of alumni. We've got a 2018 Spash alumni, Rachel Koleski. Her and her teammate Connor Kaufman. They've won the USA Mixed Doubles National Championships, and they will be competing in the World Championships for curling. So good luck to those individuals.
Love curling.
Yep. And then Roisin Willis, who is our fastest American runner in the 800. She set a new American record with a time of 1:57:59. She is the first ever American to break 1:58. So that is absolutely incredible. And she has determined she is not going to finish her last year at Stanford. She is going to start to run professionally. So we wish her the best in her professional career. And then we had our first ever Sing on Point. So our music department brought all of our students in 5th grade through 12th grade together for a workshop during the day, and then did a concert during the day and a concert at night. And I will tell you, we received so many rave reviews about the experience that our students got to participate in and just the work that our music department did into organizing that. So I foresee that getting better every year, and we're thankful for all the work that our music teachers did. Couple reminders, February 19th and 23rd are elementary parent teacher conferences, and then February 27th is an e-learning day. Then my last item is we recently had our some board members participate in a professional development opportunity at the State Education Convention in Milwaukee in January. So if any board members want to share anything that they learned that they feel is pertinent for other board members or the community to hear, please feel free to share that.
Say
Go
something
ahead.
First. Okay. Like everybody else who went to sessions every day, one session that stands out in my mind, and I've talked to Chris about it also, and I think, Jeff Milson was there with me. It was the Campbellsport School District had a unique setup with their special ed department, how they worked in their, I think it was just the junior high right now. And they had data, 3 years worth of data that indicated excellent results, and as far as behavior and scholastic achievement. And I talked to Chris and Jeff did too, and I think it was worth bringing back to, and they do export their expertise out to other schools. So I thought that would be kind of nice for us to see that one of the byproducts was keeping special ed kids in the classroom as much more than we do, right, or have in the last couple of years. The other thing was that I came away with in talking to other board members at different sessions and in between times was that I was kind of under the assumption that boards pretty much work the same way. One board meeting a month, a couple of committees, things like that. I found out there's lots of different ways boards work. It was amazing. Just at one table, I think we had 3 different districts and they all did things different ways. So it was nice to see that, and I'm hoping that we can kind of pick things we like if we see other boards doing things, and see if we can incorporate it into our boards. That's what I have to say about it.
Thank you, Jean. Anyone else?
I attended many interesting sessions, actually, I think all of them, but I attended one on the use of AI in multilingual settings, which I found very interesting. I don't really have any specific highlights from it, but it's a process of teaching language skills, similar to things that we have used in the past successfully in terms of introducing kids to hybrid languages, and it was very interesting. I attended Sam's talk and enjoyed that one as well, and then I attended some legal updates. I guess the most interesting thing came out of that is, we've been battling what the Department of Education intends to do and what the administration intends to do with regards of withholding funding from schools who engage in certain programs or for whatever reason that they choose to withhold funding. And there wasn't like a huge update or anything with certainty, but what they said was that the administration dropped the lawsuit that was attached to the Dear Colleague letter that was sent to a university setting. And they felt that with their admitting there that they cannot withhold funding would probably apply to K-12 schools as well if they tried to proceed down that path. So again, it wasn't like certainty, but it was a little bit of relief in terms of this looks like probably they realize that you can't actually legally withhold funding. So fingers crossed.
Thank you, Martin.
Can I add just one more thing that I thought of while Martin was talking? I went to the Hayes Bilingual School visit. It was incredible because up here we hear all kinds of things about MPS, and it's not usually good. But we went there and they had a whole program for us. They had 30 parents in the room and talked about parent involvement, and then. And I got to talk to some of the kids. They had a STEAM lab set up for us. I got to talk to the guy who runs STEAM labs for the whole district. And I talked to kids, 8th graders who were deciding they wanted to go to different schools in the district that specialized in different things. It's almost like picking a college. It was just incredible to see what's really happening compared to what you hear is happening. And it was in a tough neighborhood. I mean, everybody acknowledged that. I thought that was an incredible visit to actually see the good stuff these people were doing at their school.
So I'll talk, I think Ted was there and Jen was there as well, but of course they aren't here tonight to share. So hopefully if they have some things they want to share out, they can get them out through board update or through email. I attended, and actually Jeff was at the session I attended on absenteeism. And I came away from it feeling pretty positive about the fact that that's something that our administration and the board has been putting more focus on and making some strides. I felt like in some ways, based on some of the questions that were coming up and some of the information going out, that we were ahead of the curve on what we're doing. The one follow-up that I had was a couple districts have found some real success with loosening up their busing. So they work to bus kids within the 2-mile range if they feel that that's going to encourage kids and families to make sure that their kids have that transportation access to school. So I did speak with administration, and that is something that we're looking at. It just made practical sense to me. So it was one of those, like, why didn't I think about that? That makes sense. So, and then I also do want to give a shout out to Sam Dinga. He presented on his focus groups, circle conversations with various marginalized parents within our community, and did a wonderful description of what he's doing and how he's doing it. The most interesting thing, for one of them, was kids are included, and not like bring your child and go and have snacks in the back, or we'll have childcare for you. It's if the kids want to come and they want to speak up, and often, I mean, there are some bilingual, language issues, and the students that are involved can be very helpful in helping to identify kind of what issues or concerns parents may be having with our district, and allow for brainstorming about what potential solutions there might be. So I know Sam's here today, and I know he's got at least one more session this year, but there were a lot of questions from the audience, and there were a lot of people saying, how can we follow up with you, Sam? Because we want to get something going in our district. So I just want a proud moment for the district.
Thank you, Meg.
Yep. All right, so we will move.
Yeah, well, I'd like to make a comment about the, one of the donations, because it's a little bit dear to my heart, the Prime Water Anglers donation to Boston School Forest. I know Jeremy and Chris have heard this already because we had our Boston School Forest meeting recently. Those funds came from the club dissolving. That's been in effect for many years, and due to lack of new membership and other reasons, the club is dissolved, and they looked for organizations to donate the remaining funds from the group, and Boston School Forest was at the top of the list. I believe Boys and Girls Club may have been, and Big Brothers Big Sisters I think was another. But their legacy lives on. If anyone's been through Buchel Park, you've seen the handicap access piers that are there, the life jacket station, the docks that are there at the boat landing. They've done that at multiple boat landings throughout the county. It's quite the group of construction guys and welders that put those things together, and hopefully they'll last for 30, 40 years. And the club may be gone, but their work will live on, so to be used by citizens for long term. And I think Carla's working with the people who organize our summer school fishing program to see how to best utilize the funds. So.
Thank you, Jim, for that.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, I'll echo what Jim said too. I attended the event last week with Michael Johnson, and that's where the $10,000 Dove donation came from, and that was pretty impressive too, to hear that kind of announced on the stage. So it sounds like we've got some just truly excellent donations this month.
Great. Very thankful. All right. We will move into the Community Task Force Project Purpose and Long Range Facilities Plan.
Sure. So we have been continuing to collaborate with MD Ruffers. We have Mark Ruffers on the phone with us tonight. We want to provide an update on the Project Purpose and Task Force Long Range Facilities Plan, as well as a timeline. So Mark is going to walk us through that tonight. We'll continue to be back here giving the board updates as we move forward, as well as look for your approval as we continue to move forward. But I'm going to turn it over to Mark and let him share where we're at right now.
Great, thank you very much, Corey. We are at the stage of being able to solidify this. Talk about 12% hiring, but who are really involved in support. To be guided by the safety council. We would like to begin with you a little bit about selection. Who supports the task force?
Lori, could you lay out for the board what you're, I'm not seeing it here, for what you're envisioning in terms of kind of the groups of members of that task force?
Yep, so we're thinking we are going to have 15 members that are parents with children in the district, 15 members who are residents of the community who currently do not have students in the district, or maybe never did have students in the district. And then we would have 15 staff members. And the 15 staff members would represent a multitude of different employee groups and would include some building administrators, but not district level administrators. And then 2 board members that would serve on the committee, but they would not be voting, because you would in the end be voting for the recommendations. So that's where we would get our 45 with 2 board members, 47.
And we would just look, Meg, within that group of 15 staff to balance as equally as we could between elementary and secondary.
Correct.
Do board members have any questions? Yeah, I believe we talked about 9 meetings.
9 meetings, and those have been tentatively set. We would have our first meeting in April 29th. Then we do May 27th, June 15th, July 15th, August 5th, September 16th, October 21st, November 18th, and December 9th. And then we've got a group that would be part of the planning committee for that task force work that would meet with both Mark and Nick. And we've got those dates scheduled as well, so they would happen a couple weeks or at least a week prior to those task force meetings, so we can make sure that we've got everything prepared and ready to go. But in Mark's timeline here, we need to start communicating quickly regarding people being interested in serving on that committee. And then we would close that application deadline around March 11th so that we could pull that group together, communicate. We would let people know right up front when we send out the information this week on the application, what those meeting dates are and what time and place that those meetings would take place so that they knew right up front all of the information.
So would that be something coming to the board?
It will go out on our social media sites. It will go out on our website.
But we don't need to approve the
No.
people that are going.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you will not approve the people. You will approve tonight kind of the plan and the timeline. And then probably in March, Mark, we'll be back at the board pretty much getting the direction that the task force is provided from the board to do the work.
And so then again, before you get to this, what to do with my curious is this conversation is to do meetings with your staff and also you.
Jim, I think Jim had a
I
question.
just, I know you said across the, employees, staff across the district, is there any emphasis put on or wish to recruit someone out of buildings and grounds? Because that would make, to me, a lot of sense to make sure there's somebody who's intimately involved, particularly with all the buildings.
Absolutely. In fact, Chris
Budzinski,
Budzinski is going to
okay.
be part of our planning meetings.
Okay.
Preparing for the task force. But yes, I'd look for bus drivers, I would look for food service personnel, teachers, administrators, support staff.
Guys that are recently retired or about to retire, which means they've seen it all.
In addition, I'm saying,
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
the first step
I have two questions. First of all, what if you get more than 40 of the 30 non-staff people? What if you get more? How are you gonna decide who? Is it first come, first serve? And my second question is there any thought given to making sure we get a broad spectrum of interests rather than a small, I shouldn't say small, a group of people with the same interests that we look throughout the whole community, or possibly recruit people from different aspects of the community so we get a broad view?
things to
I would suggest if you're gonna have a protocol, that it's public and it's right up front when you send out the applications. The protocol is there so people know, what, either why they weren't selected or what they were, or, so people know it.
Absolutely.
So clearly we have more access to people in two of the groups. I mean, we have more access to our parents with kids, and we have more access with our staff. So what is administration thinking about in terms of getting the word out to the entire district? I mean, are we looking to try to do something through the townships? I mean, clearly maybe some newspaper stuff, but it's really hard to do. I mean, you know, we don't have a lot of local media options. So I'm just wondering maybe Mark, what has worked with other districts, and I guess what we're thinking about doing with that third group of 15.
Sure.
Yeah, just think back to reach out to those groups, you know, for people that, you know, that you're waiting for.
I would just offer that March 11th is the deadline. That's a month away. They're gonna, I don't want to miss people who will come up and say, well, what's this all about? I never heard of all this. And in our district, to get this information out and then shut it down in 1 month, that's a tough ask. And and so two numbers. Have you done this on this short of a timeline in other districts? I mean, if 5 people getting them together in 1 month for a common interest, it's gonna be hard.
And Mark, it seems that we would have the opportunity in that 1 month time frame to monitor the return, the number of applications that we're getting back, and that could inform the need to potentially market the campaign more heavily to a particular stakeholder group. makes sense.
That makes sense.
Marnie, did you have a question?
I was going to ask the exact same question you did, Meg, so well done.
Any other questions from board members?
There is a urban planning development department at the university. I mean, if, I know we're not looking for that age group of people, but if there's anything, I mean, most of those students would jump at a chance to be a part of something.
That's a good idea.
Any other comments? So this is just an update tonight.
No, there's
Or
actually
do you want us to make a, I don't have my,
So the motion reads, motion to approve the project purpose and task force long-range facilities plan as presented to guide the next phase of long-range planning related to facilities, enrollment, and programming.
So moved.
Second.
any further discussion on that?
So will you'll be reporting back to us at the
Likely
March
in March.
meeting and providing us with some information and also asking for guidance?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Motion carries. We're on our way.
Thank you.
All right. We will move into our consent agenda, and it is minutes of the school board meeting from January 12th, approval of the scheduled monthly bills, and our employment recommendations.
Can I ask, if I have a question about one aspect of that, or do we have to
Pull it out.
separate it out again?
Yep,
Pull it out.
we have to pull it out.
They're easy questions.
That's
Pull it
okay,
out.
you have to pull it out. So,
Yeah, I want to ask
okay, what do you want to ask about?
their employment.
Employment, okay. Okay, so, we have a motion to pull employment recommendations out from the consent agenda. Do I have, you're making that motion?
I made that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Okay, so why don't we go ahead and can I get a motion to approval of the minutes and the scheduled monthly bills?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? I will have the roll call because the motion goes.
Mr. Liebrick,
Yes.
Mr. Pope,
Yes.
Ms. Mercer. Yes. Ms. Potter Nelson,
Yes.
Mr. Summers,
Yes.
Mr. Leapak,
Yes.
Ms. Erler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, now we're on personnel recommendations.
Can I ask my question?
Mhm.
Can I ask Beth?
You sure can.
Okay.
Come on up, Beth.
I mean, they're easy questions. They're quick ones. I can ask while you're coming up here, there are a lot of them. Is that just this time of year?
A lot of,
Resignations and retirement?
Yeah, I noticed that.
so there's just four resignations. The rest are retirements.
The retirements is that a lot? Not a lot? I haven't kept track over the years.
I think it's average.
It's for this time of year.
Yeah, we ask that they notify us by February 1st so that they're all on this agenda.
So
because
compared
of
to
that.
previous years, it's about what you would expect.
Yeah, 15 to 20 is,
Okay.
And I think from an HR perspective, the sooner, I mean, we love it when people let us know early because
I think
that
there's
gives
a-
us the opportunity
carrot.
to.
Yeah, there's like $1,000
There's a carrot.
thing they
Right.
get if
They
they tell us
get
ahead of time.
$100
For
sick day up to 120 days if they notify us by February 1st.
Okay. And then, well, the resignations, well, I just want to say this, I'm glad none of them walked out. Like in the past, we've had resignations where somebody walked out that day, but these guys are all at the end of the year, right?
there was one some mid-year, I think, but
Letter C was
Yeah.
mid-year.
Yeah, all right. Any sense of why they resigned or anything?
We have 3 personal and 1 is going to move to a 4K position, EA position.
Oh, in the district?
Mhm.
Oh, terrific. Okay. Well, thank you. Those are the questions. I
You're
had.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chief. So could I have a motion to approve the personnel recommendations?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Motion carries. All right, next we are moving into, business services and, I think Corey's gonna handle that. Marty
Corey.
was not able to be.
Ted ran the meeting, Marty wasn't there for the meeting, and Ted's not here for this meeting, so Cory's gonna give us the overview.
And I'm gonna tag team with Mike here. So a few things that we talked about at business services was, one was a policy, which you're gonna hear about a little bit later in the agenda. And then Mike and Jackie gave the exception and performance report, which was amazing. We appreciate that every single month. Things were looking very good. And then they spoke a little bit about our second Friday in January enrollment count. So I'm just gonna have Mike come up and give just a couple highlights from there. And everything else is in the agenda.
Yeah, so the second Friday in January count happened on January 9th. That count is combined with the September count, and that combination goes into determining general aid and the aid formula. There are 3 counts that come about from that. The first one is the enrollment or the seat count. And our enrollment for 25-26 in January was 6,742. So that's how many people we had in the seats. That was a decrease of 29 students from September. The next count is membership. Membership is really the seat count adjusted for open enrollment. And our January membership count was 7,035. That was a decrease of 3 students from the September count. And the last count is FTE membership. That's where we take the membership count and convert it to FTE by adjusting for preschool and 4K. The January membership count was 6,850. That was a decrease of 3 students from the third Friday count. So we did see a decrease in all 3 of the counts. That's not unusual to see a decline like that from September to January. In fact, I looked at the last 11 years, and all but 3 of those years had a decrease between September and January. Pretty standard. Any questions?
Yeah, I read in that in the
During the update?
yeah, that there was like like 21 students that left the high school to go to the CFC. Am I right about that?
I think that was correct.
Is that a normal thing? I mean, that amount
To have that many move from the beginning of the year to mid-year, yeah.
to CFC?
Yeah.
It happens pretty much every year.
Mhm. Yep. Other questions?
So in terms of that seat count, Mike, is part of that, I know we have ag families. I mean, we have families that come into our district that are working with our ag, migrant workers working with our community. I've always just wondered if that's part of where we're seeing that drop in students, that those students are in our seats for the September, October, and then are maybe heading back to Texas or elsewhere over, the winter months.
Yeah, I think
Potentially coming back
that's,
in April, May.
yeah, I think that's a big reason why we see that decline and why we've seen it over the past 8 out of the 11 years. We did go up overall. I think we went up 7 students in the seat count that we managed to add back in after September. So when we're counting that 29 decrease, we're counting it from adding those 7 in. So it's not quite as big of a decrease as the numbers that we gave you in September. But sometimes we're able to do that. We watch the counts. The way the count works is if a student's not there on the count date, they have to be before and after, yep. And sometimes you don't know if you're gonna get that after count or not. And so when we are able to get that, we can then go amend the count and put them back in. So that's a positive.
in more ways than just this, because a few of those students were truant.
Right.
And we were able to get them back in our buildings, not only to count them, but get them back in our buildings so that they were with us and learning. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's persistence of our people working in our schools.
Yep.
All right, any other questions of Mike? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, we will move into Ed Services Committee report with Jean.
Okay, we had three things, two information and one vote. The first one was an assistive technology presentation by Liz Bush. And what is her title? Assistive technology specialist?
Specialist.
Occupational therapist, wasn't it?
I'll look it up. You keep no,
going.
Jen, give us a thumbs up.
Keep
That's
track.
right.
Does that suffice? Okay.
Yeah.
And Liz gave us a presentation about all the things, items that she uses to help our kids who need help, their costs, their availability, and things like that, and gave us an idea of what her day is like and the people that she works with and affects. It was a wonderful presentation. And then the second one was we had a CKLA mid-year data update, which I thought showed positive, even in just this half a year that we've been implementing the program, showed some positive results already, which was nice to see. And then the third thing we're going to go over again here, the school safety reporting of crime statistics. We're going to do the whole presentation again, right?
No.
Oh, we're not? Oh,
We're just gonna
because
talk
we
about
voted on
policy.
it to bring it to the board.
The policy changes.
Okay, and
We'll just ask.
so we'll just let you go ahead and talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great. I can talk about that one. We had one policy that came through. This is a new policy for the district. It is, as Jean mentioned, titled School Safety and Reporting of Crime Statistics. This
So we're moving
one.
into the next agenda item.
Oh.
Just so everybody follows.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And this was a new policy recommended by Neola. I think it's important to note that the requirement of reporting crime statistics was already completed. That was a requirement by the end of July 2025. So we did collect that data that is specific to our 912 population. We do monitor and we maintain a spreadsheet across all of our secondary sites where we house that information so that Corey's able to update that at the deadline every year. So again, this policy was recommended by Neola. We did make a few updates and changes just to ensure that was aligned with our practice. You will notice one of the first paragraphs on the first page indicated either a 3-year review of our school safety plans or an annual review. We elected to err on the side of more often rather than less. So we have, and we'll continue to monitor our safety plans at each of our respective school sites annually. We do that in addition to our emergency operating procedures at each of our schools. But that is policy 8420, but I'm happy to answer any questions of the board.
And it's basically just to align with statute.
Board members have any questions? So I just wanted to know I've been serving on the Portage County Justice Coalition for, well now, it's the past 6 months, but we only meet quarterly. But it was very interesting. The first meeting that I went to, part of the presentation was from Judge Malepsky, and it was regarding the new jail construction, and a recommendation to the Justice Coalition that then would go up through the rest of the county related to whether we were going to have a juvenile section in Portage County Jail. We have had one in our jail since we built the jail downtown. And I just wanted to, I want to note the report that was provided showed incredible information about the decreased numbers of juveniles that are being jailed in Portage County, to the point that
I mean, we're talking about 1 to 2 juveniles on average, which is a significant decrease from the past. But one of the things that was pointed out were these proactive, preventive programs that we as a district are doing, that Portage County is doing, through their drug court and through certain others. It's our truancy program. It's some of the programs that we're working with Boys and Girls Club. It's having support specialists embedded in our schools to really be able to work with kids who are either in danger of getting in trouble or get themselves in trouble. But we have the ability to work together to try to prevent them from winding up with a criminal record and winding up in our jail. So I just wanted to note that that it's just wonderful work that administration is doing with our community partners to really try to keep those numbers down. So what the direction Portage County is moving in now is Marathon County does have juvenile site at their jail, and we will be working with Marathon County in the event that it's needed for juveniles to be up there. So that I thought about it when I was just reading through all this stuff.
Do we still serve them academically?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I am looking for a motion to approve the adoption of policy 8420, school safety and reporting of crime statistics as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed with nay? Motion carries. Okay,
Question.
Go ahead.
We rushed through the ed services, right, and I assume this you said we moved on, but that was still part of ed services. Can I comment on anything about ed services at all? It's very simple. It's more of a public announcement.
Sure, yes. Sorry, Jim.
As it related to the occupational therapy and the special ed assistive devices, I had a nice conversation with a gentleman whose family donated a track wheelchair. And I just want to make sure we knew that was available, especially for he wanted to make sure that the district remembered to use it when they wanted to. It's a pretty cool device. They keep it right in the parking lot by, is it Midwest Independent Living, Save-A-Lot Foods, right there. There's a trailer. I think their name is on it, that they donated it. It's a pretty unique wheelchair that can go really difficult terrain with the tracks that are on it. So he just wanted to remind people it's there. It's free to use. You just have to sign up to use it for anyone in need. So especially our kids, if we got a difficult field trip somewhere, and maybe their chair won't go to where that gives them access to go places where they may not be able to otherwise. So he just wanted to remind us.
Thanks, Jim. All right, so we'll move into policies 7450, 8500, and 8510.
I'm going to turn this over to Mike. These are the policies that were discussed at the business services.
Yeah, and all these changes are very minor. They were recommendations by either our district financial auditors or by the DPI food service review team. So the first policy 7450, property inventory. The change that we're making to this policy is to allow us to capitalize assets that are purchased as a group if their cost is $10,000 or more. And we don't generally do that, and I include an explanation why we don't generally do that within the policy, but this gives us the ability to do it if our auditors and us together find that we need to, or that we should. Any questions on that policy?
This is not just saying, this is saying we buy $50,000 worth of Chromebooks. You can do it as aggregate rather than just each individual Chromebook, is that what you're saying?
Yes. We don't generally do that, and I kind of want to stay away from doing that. But sometimes, especially when we have like the POTS audit, which has a smaller material threshold, the auditors will really push for that, and this just gives us the ability to do it in those situations.
I can hear you.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay, I'll move on to the next one. This is policy 8500. It's the food services policy. And again, this recommendation came from the DPI Food Service Review Team. And essentially what it does, it adds that the medical statement for special dietary needs can be signed by a registered dietitian. In the past, it was just a state authorized medical authority. We're adding in the registered dietitian because that's the new rules. So we're just updating it to include that, and we added registered dietitian wherever we had state authorized medical authority. So now it can be either or. Any questions on that one? Okay, the next policy is policy 8510. That is the wellness policy. Again, this one was a recommendation from our DPI Food Service Review Team. And this policy originally contained an incorrect USDA non-discrimination statement. And it was incorrect because there was an inclusion of additional language that's not supposed to be there. So that statement must be exactly as the USDA has it laid out. We had some additional language. So we're just recommending that we take that language out. That language is found in other policies that we have. So we feel that it doesn't need to be in this one.
Maybe we can make the other policies match.
What's that?
No, this is just in relation to the food service audit.
Yeah. Any questions on any of the policies?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the revised policies 7450, 8500, and 8510 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Motion carries. Budget evaluation process.
Thank you. Update on budget and program eval for this month. I'll begin with our position review, and to date, we've reviewed a total of 561 positions. 522 of those we categorized as fill as is. Positions currently frozen. You'll notice if you're keeping track from last month, that's increased by 5. So we had a total of 5 frozen positions.
Retirements.
Correct. Yep. So we are currently about at midpoint of our annual staffing process, both at the elementary and the secondary level. So knowing that that will conclude as we head into March here, we'll be able to make some more informed decisions about whether or not there's a need to fill those positions. Those decisions are made primarily based on enrollment numbers for courses, number of sections that we have rolling out for each respective grade level at each elementary building. Positions that have been eliminated, that number is unchanged at this point, so that is still currently at 29. Our co-curricular programming review, we are doing that comparative analysis from surrounding districts. We're completing the process of kind of recategorizing those positions by title to make it a little more structured in terms of how we make decisions about stipends for those positions. So those that are true clubs that actually are school-sponsored clubs versus just clubs that maybe we would categorize as student-sponsored clubs, and we're trying to make those distinctions when we're categorizing them. This has ended up being a little bit of a bigger animal than maybe we initially planned, so it's taking a bit more time to sort through. It also took us a little bit of time to collect that data from our surrounding districts, but we do feel we have what we need now to be able to proceed with that recategorizing. We also removed some shared leadership positions that were in our co-curricular programming spreadsheet when we pulled that apart, and we've now moved those out. So we did for a period of time, for whatever reason, had our TI specialists, our coordinators for K-12 art, for K-12 music, for PE, and we wouldn't necessarily consider those co-curriculars. So we've now made the decision to remove those. I think it's important to share at this point, co-curricular programming does not carry a significant dollar amount. So when we look for efficiencies here, we're not going to find huge cost savings. We're not going to find the ability to be able to make significant reductions. But this is an area that certainly was in need of being cleaned up. And if that's the only thing that comes from this program review, then we'll have done a lot of good. And I think Beth will certainly attest to that.
What are we categorizing coordinators as?
So they're just going to be they're just getting moved to be an Appendix B position. So they're an Appendix B position, which is where we would have other like coaching positions. Yeah. And we considered those more kind of academic coordinator positions. So we just removed them. In terms of ELA programming, this is the next big program that we're looking to review. I do want to just point out a couple of things that we've already done in the area of ELA. We did review the junior course enrollment, and leading into our program review for ELA, we recognized that there was a disproportionately high number of students that were enrolling in lit and film and creative expression. And while those two would be considered still valuable electives, we didn't feel that those courses really sufficiently addressed the current iteration of ELA standards, and we didn't necessarily feel that they served a strong primary English experience for all of our students. So we made some decisions there about kind of changing the course sequence or the recommended course sequence. So we've updated and now have we renamed a couple of those courses. The board will recall that we took action on that back in December. So there are the courses that we renamed. And I think that translates into a couple of the changes here. And what I really want to focus on is how those changes have impacted enrollment. So you can see there that composition and research was the newly named course. It increased from 126 up to 231 students. So a significant increase. We also, our foundations of writing, and you'll remember in December we had a lot of spirited conversation about what to call that class specifically. We landed on foundations of writing that increased from 130 all the way up to 312. So we're seeing kids that are taking on an increased level of rigor, and they're feeling that they have the background to be able to make those decisions to take on those more rigorous courses. American Lit increased from 55 all the way up to 258. And literature and film, that went from 305 to 158, so that was a significant reduction, and 208 down to 35 for creative expression. So the changes accomplished what we hoped, and they got students enrolled in what we would consider those more rigorous English courses.
Well, those were the mandatory courses that we said things.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yep, at the time.
This switch needs to.
That's right. So they needed to happen. Yeah. G.
So what was I know you talked to staff about this, and a lot of it was generated from staff, right? So after did they see these numbers that there's going to be some huge differences?
Mm-hmm.
Any reaction from them? Is this something they wanted?
And I think this is one of the things that's probably most exciting for me is that really these changes came from our English department in collaboration with John and his administrative team up at SPASH. So rather than us coming in saying, we're going to review ELA and here are the things that we think you need to do, they sort of came up with these suggestions even before we analyzed the data more closely. So we looked at course enrollment that felt a little bit high or low in certain areas, and they took that data and incorporated and recommended some of these changes on their own. So I think the next step for us is now to look at what other courses that maybe don't fully align with the most current iteration of standards that either could be combined and or eliminated. So Jeff and I have a follow-up meeting scheduled with John and his administrative team on February 23rd. That'll begin that discussion, and then we'll bring our ELA leadership together to begin to think about what we can do next.
Is there any indication of staff reductions or increases because of these numbers specifically?
Not necessarily because of these numbers specifically. I think one of the things that we've been really intentional about doing as part of program and budget review is we've looked for the opportunities to be able to find efficiencies based on retirements and resignations. We know that we are making some hard decisions on a timeline that might feel a little bit fast to some folks and could be criticized for that. But we also know that there are other districts across the state that are having to make decisions that don't get to be categorized as proactive. They're entirely reactive. I'm thinking about Oshkosh, who has recently eliminated 72 positions simply because they had to. And I think we've really done this well enough that we won't find ourselves in that position if we continue to find the efficiencies based on those retirements and resignations. Yeah. So specific to ELA at this point, G, I would say no. But again, any retirement or resignation that would come from this particular area, we certainly see as an opportunity.
Yeah. The concern that I had was if this is generated from the department itself, so here you have people looking at each other saying, we're going to do this, but I don't want it to have, and none of us want anybody to say, but you're going to be out of a job when this happens. We're not there.
No, we're not there. No.
So Chris, clearly literature and film, still about half the number of kids, and creative expression, a very much smaller number. But can you talk a little bit about students that might be taking that? Are they also taking some of the other courses? And taking these as elective, more of an elective at this point?
And I don't have that level of specificity in the data. If I were to generalize it, I would say the answer to that is likely yes. Yeah, that those kids are taking another elective course.
Is that something you could maybe take a look into?
Sure. Yeah, I can take a look at that a little more closely. Yeah, that's a relatively small number of kids to be able to go back and look at, but that would be my guess. In terms of ACT and pre-ACT, I want to also talk about what are the indicators of success. So we see these enrollment shifts in courses that we offer, and what are we seeing as a result, right? I think as program review, we have to constantly be focused on the return on investment. So we have seen an ELA, or we have seen an increase in English and writing and in reading scores on the ACT and pre-ACT from last year to this year. The overall score has increased as well. So in each of those three categories, we did see an overall increase for students who took the ACT and the pre-ACT. I share that because it's not been the case for the last several years. To see increases in all three of those categories, as well as an increase in our overall ELA composite, has not been our data reality for the last several years. So I'm really proud of the work that the ELA department is doing, and I believe that when we finish this program review, I believe we'll be even better positioned to continue to see that data improve.
You know where Stevens Point sits in the national standing?
In terms of ACT and pre-ACT, no, I don't off the top of my head.
Be interesting.
I want to pause momentarily to talk a little bit about the revenue efficiencies and cost savings we've identified up to this point. So we have a couple of areas that I added this month. We have some software reductions. These were identified in the areas of student services, in business services, and in tech, totaling there was approximately, actually, it was slightly more than that. That 25,000 was about 50,000 after I added the additional one that came in from tech. There was an EA position that was reduced. The Portage County Business Council Partners in Education reduction, that's also a recurring savings. And the K-3 foundational literacy skills training, I talked about that a little bit at Ed Services when I provided the CCALA and the Act 20 update. And that is a $52,668 savings. That foundational literacy skills training is now complete for all of our K-3 special ed and ELL teachers. So that will not be a cost that we have moving forward. And if you're doing the quick math on that, that's about already $164,000 in cost savings that's recurring that we've identified this year. Our next steps are to, again, maintain the ongoing monthly review of athletic spending. We've completed that program review, but we continue to monitor those expenses monthly. We'll continue to analyze the potential staffing efficiencies. I'm hopeful that Jeff and I will be able to bring those larger cost savings numbers to you either in March or in April. And that's really where we identify most of our cost efficiencies. And then our ELA programming review, as I mentioned earlier, is scheduled for our first meeting on February 23rd. And that is the update for February, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do board members have any other questions or Chris?
This little girl's getting an awful lot of airtime.
Thank you, Chris. Can you just, the reports that our student rep talked about, the ACT practice test, have we been doing that? Or how long have we been doing that? And like what percentage of our students are, I mean, that's.
Is this year 2, Jeff, or?
Two, that's what I thought.
So we do the practice test, Meg, every fall now. We do that practice test, and then each department actually takes their data and they break it down with for their students, and then we look at how we can help different groups of students with that. The other thing John just put out that I think Spash does an awesome job with is the ACT Boost program. So that's offered to any student on Wednesday nights, and it's broken down by content area. So if a student really wants to see their science score improve, they can come one Wednesday night. ELA is a different night. Then we also do our math on another night. So they kind of work through that as well. So those are some of the options we built in. Plus, we've continued to offer as a online summer school course. Students can take an ACT practice prep class through the summer that runs through everything with that. And they can earn a half a credit for that.
Are we seeing good attendance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ACT Boost especially, because that's very timely for students. And John has some great people that put that together and work really hard on that.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Our future meeting dates and times, our next board meeting will be March 9th. We need to move into, or I'm looking for a motion to move into closed session. So we need to, under 1985, Paren 1, Paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss bargaining strategies and parameters. So I have a motion, a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Liebrick?
Yes.
Ms. Mercer? Yes. Mr. Pope?
Yes.
Ms. Potter Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Lepak?
Yes.
Ms. Erler?
Okay, so 5 minutes?
Yep, back at 7:22.